One area where parents, especially dads, screw up at is, they're trying to train their kids as far as getting ready for their competition like they did when they were a football player. Specifically, if you're a lineman or something. There's a famous story about Joe Namath and how he was, not performing on the football field. And so the sports psychologist, success coach took him out and said, get out of the locker room. These linemen, they can beat their head against the locker and get all jacked up, and power lifter could sniff smelling salts and punch himself in the face and get all jacked up before their competition. But those are different sports than being a quarterback, right? And I think we can all use some common sense and figure out the differences there. Well, wrestling's like the quarterback, right? And so, in America, we teach wrestling's 90% mental, which I kind of think is, if you're a choker, it's 90% mental. If you're out of shape, 30 pounds overweight, and your conditioning sucks, then it's 90% physical. If you're weak and you can't do 3 push-ups, then for you it's 90% physical as far as strength. If your skill level is terrible and you haven't mastered the foundation, which is the best way to score from the common positions in wrestling, well, then wrestling for you is 90% technical. But just as a general rule, we say, if you only want it bad enough. And I'm thinking, no, you can want it as bad as you want. Your kid's not going to beat my kid. When I saw your kid warming up, he can't even do a drop step, right? It's not going to happen. You don't have the skills. And you don't have the skills to bench press 300 pounds. That guy over there does, but you don't. Well, if you only want it bad enough, it's 90% mental. The 90% mental bullcrap we talk about is only in wrestling. How come we don't say that about everything else, right? It's silly. But I'm not disagreeing that it's 90% mental if you have issues in that area. But as a general rule, once everything is in play, I don't necessarily think it's 90% mental. The Russians say wrestling is 5% mental. And some say they have as many as 50 men in every weight class that could win a world title potentially, and especially when you're going back to the Soviet era, obviously. And they say wrestling's 5% mental, 5% physical, 90% technical. I'm not going to say I agree with that necessarily too, but I probably do. Right? Wrestling's a very technical sport, and when I get very technical and skilled, guess what happens to my confidence? Goes up, right? Some of us aren't confident because we don't deserve confidence, because you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're lost on the mat, right? And you try to slough through it and fake through it by getting, pissed off and wrestling strong and tough, or lifting weights, or getting strong, better conditioning. So sometimes the catalyst to create confidence is technique, right? But where the dads mess up is sometimes they try to get their kids all, you got to get super jacked up and you got to go out there and you got to destroy, right? And you're like, God, you're a cool dude. I like you, but you don't know what the heck you're talking about. So I would say to the dads who are coaching their kids to get jacked up and fired up and angry and, before their wrestling match or during their wrestling match, to understand that, this is you're a lot like the quarterback, right? Because when Joe Namath went to the coach's office and read the newspaper and kind of removed himself from that hype, he became one of the best quarterbacks ever. And so in wrestling, I think we do have to make sure that, sure, we say this, tap into your anger, right? So those of you who follow Purler wrestling, we have a system for everything. We even practice shaking hands. We practice walking into the wrestling room. We practice everything, your body language. So for us, it's pretty much a 4-step process. We want to have a deep breath, right? We want to slap on great body language, take a couple more deep breaths, and then we want to set a game plan for the match, emotionally dissect this match. Okay, you beat this kid by 1 point last time, and he beat you by 1 point the time before that. Are you ready for a close match? Yes, I am, Nick. Okay, maybe next year we'll pin this kid. That's the goal. But today, it's not going to happen. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, so we're going to have a close match, right? So emotionally dealing with what's going to take place out here, understanding that we have a rough game plan that kind of calms our nerves a little bit, putting on good body language and having taking a deep breath and trying to kind of just get to that point where we're ready, but we're not thinking, right? There's no anxiety, nothing that causes tension. Do we engage in? We don't engage in anything that causes tension, but yet we're ready to strike if we have to also. So, it's quite a bit more complicated than that, but, we do have a way of helping our athletes in that aspect. So those of you who are familiar with us understand that. And I would like to see you as a dad or a mom just read some books, get educated, try to get your kids involved with the success coaching side of wrestling, and not just the conditioning side or the technique side, because ultimately that's what's going to make the deciding factor. All right, so good luck to everyone. You can check us out at purlerwrestling.com. We do have a 28-day wrestling camp where we cover, there's seminars on getting recruited for college, nutrition, goal setting, the sports psychology side of wrestling as well. But, you can just get our Winning the Mental Game download. Go to purlerwrestling.com. It's free right there. Print it off. So just educating yourself, I think, is the key, and that's what we're trying to do here with these videos. Good luck.